Hi guys, welcome back. We're going to jump into section 1.3, which is going to talk about irrational numbers. Okay. When we're talking about irrational numbers, it's a number that when written as a decimal either never ends or it never repeats, okay? So like we're never going to find a pattern in those, okay? And these numbers can never be written as fractions because we don't know when they end and there's no pattern to them. So some examples would be pi. Okay, lots of you have heard of pi, so that's 3.141592653, and it keeps going on forever and ever and ever. They have pi digits up to like 10 trillion digits and counting, so it's probably even more since the last time I looked that number up. But they just keep doing long division longer and longer and longer, but it'll go on forever. So that's how we kind of denote that with these dots, is that is going on forever. Okay, square root of 2, when we take the square root of 2, it's an irrational number because it just goes on forever and ever and ever. Okay? So the irrational numbers are numbers that lie in the gaps between rational numbers. So between 1 and 2, there's a bunch of numbers that are irrational between that because it fills in between all the numbers that we do know that end. Okay? So if we were to graph the square root of 2 on a number line here, okay? So I know the square root of 2 is 1.4. So if I had like 0, 1, and 2 here, and if it's 1.5 is here, the square root of 2 would be approximately right there, is how I would draw that on the number line. Okay? So today we're going to go ahead and find the square root on a calculator. You can use your calculator today. And you can round to 2 decimal places. Okay, that's key, 2 decimal places, because some of these go on forever. Okay, and we're going to graph 2 numbers between it to the nearest 10th. Okay, 10th. And then we're going to show that on the number line, okay? So I have my calculator that I can pull up here. Whoops. Oh, sorry guys. Still trying to get my iPad to do all the things I want it to do at the right times. Okay, so the square root of 3. So I'm going to go ahead and hit I think I have to hit my square root button first. Nope, I have to hit my number first. Oh, okay. All right, forgive me. So we're going to hit 3. And then we're going to hit the square root button. It might be different on yours. So it's telling me that I have 1.73. So I'm going to go ahead and write that here. 1.73. And see how we have the approximate symbol here? That means I'm rounding it, okay? It's very close to 1.73. And since it said round to the 2 decimal places, I'm just going to go 73. Okay? Now, if I want to graph this, okay, I know that the tens place is 7. Okay, so I'm going to do it between 1.6, okay, or I'm sorry, I'm going to go to 1.7 and 1.8, okay, because 1.7 is just a little bit lower than 1.73, and 1.8 is just a little bit bigger than 1.73, and 1.73 would just be a little bit closer to 1.7 than 1.8, so I can put the square root of 3 here. So all I did was I looked at the tens place and went 1 lower because 0.73, the closest tenth would be 1.7, and then 1 higher tenth would be 1.8. Okay, let's do square root of 15. So again, I'm going to do 15. Whoops. Ooh, goodness. We're learning all the clear stuff here. How do I get you to clear? There's my clear button. Okay. Sorry, guys. 15, and we're taking the square root. Okay. And if we take the square root, that's going to be 3.8. 3.87, because again, we're rounding to 2 decimal places. And again, I'm going to look at my tenths. So a little bit lower than 0.87 would be 0.8. So we're going to have 3.8 on the left here. And one a little bit higher would be 3.9. And then I would go ahead and graph. 3.87 is pretty close to 3.9, so I'm going to put the square root of 15 right there. Okay? We can do the same thing with negative numbers. So I know that the square root of 3 with a negative in front is the same as the square root of 3. It's just going to have a negative in front of the 1.73. So again, you could have done that in the calculator where you typed in the number 3 and then took the square root and then just plop a negative in front of it, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and graph. Now remember, this is flip-flopped for negative numbers. So negative 1.7 would be just a little bit bigger than negative 1.73. and negative 1.8 would be just a little bit smaller than that. And then my negative square root of 3 would be closer to negative 1.7. So if you notice, the number lines were flip-flopped when we had a positive versus a negative. So just be very careful about that, okay? Go ahead and try and find the square root of, or negative square root of 2 for me. Okay. And if we go ahead and do that in the calculator, the square root of 2 would be 1.41, and we just pop a negative in front of it. Okay. And go ahead and try on your own to graph it. So pause the video, please, to graph. And then if we do this, we're going to have negative 1.4 off to the right-hand side and negative 1.5 on the left-hand side. And if I go ahead and plot that, the negative 1.41 would be closer to negative 1.4. So we would go ahead and put the square root of negative 2 there. Okay. All right, I believe that is all for our notes today. Just a reminder again, an irrational number, it's going to be written in some sort of decimal unless it has a special name like pi or square root of 2. Then the decimal will just keep going on forever with no repeating. Okay, so big hint will be these ... dots or not seeing a pattern. Okay, have a wonderful day and we'll see you later. Bye.